You know that moment when you meet someone for the first time and instantly you just know that you're going to get along? Or just as quickly, you sense that something's off, even if you can't explain why. That hunch, that gut feeling, that's intuition. It's fast, it's powerful, and it's always there, whether we want it to be or not. You see, intuition helps guide us throughout our daily lives, often without us even realizing it. But the challenge is that many of us don't truly understand how it works or how to control it. So, how can we trust a skill that we can't always control? And more importantly, can we learn to trust and refine it? Today, I want to show you the impact of intuition and how it can unlock new opportunities in your social life, creative pursuits, and how you interact with the world. At first, I thought intuition was something magical. You know, like some kind of mysterious Jedi power. Something that only a few people had. A kind of secret ability to just know things. I knew I had moments where I acted on a hunch or a gut feeling that turned out to be spot on. But I could never put my finger on why. But as I dug deeper, I began to realize that intuition is more than just an elusive feeling. It's a skill. And it's a skill we've all been developing for years, improving in every situation we put it in. Intuition is essentially our brain's ability to make quick, subconscious decisions based on patterns, experiences, and information we've collected over time. Think of it as a well-designed heuristic, a shortcut that helps us smoothly navigate the complexities of life, from social situations to decision-making, all below your conscious train of thought. When we get that impulsive feeling, when we just know that something's right or wrong, that's our intuition at work. It's why we can walk into a room and instantly sense the mood, or meet someone for the first time and know whether or not we'll get along. But here's the important part. Although intuition operates mostly beneath our conscious awareness, it still plays a crucial role in how we interact with the world. It shapes the way we make decisions, communicate, and even perform our favorite hobbies. Once I realized the power that intuition held, I thought to myself, how can I use this to benefit my daily life? I sat down at my desk and grabbed my notebook to start writing down some ideas. But no matter how hard I thought, despite all of my enthusiasm, when I glanced down at my paper, it was blank. How can we study a process that, by definition, escapes conscious thought? To navigate this issue, I decided to reverse engineer this question. And instead of thinking about how I could find the origin of intuition, I began thinking of times where my intuition found me. A fun fact about me is that I've been playing piano for over 15 years, exploring a wide variety of genres such as classical, pop, ragtime, and most recently, jazz. Jazz is a unique genre because unlike classical, where all the notes are written out on sheet music for a pianist to perform, the beauty of jazz comes from improvisation. Playing unwritten notes in the middle of your performance, creating new melodies and ideas in real time. One night in high school, I was playing jazz at a small gathering with some of my friends. It was my first time improvising in front of a crowd, and I was feeling nervous. I knew the general structure of the piece, but the rest was up to me. When it came time for my solo, I began to panic. My fingers fell short, and I started worrying too much about hitting the wrong notes. Frantically, I looked up into the audience, thinking they'd all be laughing at my terrible playing. But, to my surprise, when I looked out into that crowd, I made eye contact with one of my friends, and he was smiling at me. With this motivation, I took a deep breath and let go of my nerves. I stopped overthinking and let my hands just follow the music. The less I thought, the better that my hands were able to know where they needed to go. As I played, I felt myself entering this zone, this flow state, a place where I wasn't so focused on the notes I was playing, but rather, my body was responding to the music around me. In that moment, when I hit that chord without thinking, it was almost like my hands just knew where they needed to go. Almost like it was one step ahead of my brain. And in this brief instant, I realized I wasn't just playing music. I was following an invisible thread. Something that I couldn't explain, but something that had always been there. That's when it clicked for me. Intuition isn't about controlling every moment. It's about letting go and trusting what's already within you. The more I leaned into that music, the better it flowed. And the great thing is, this doesn't just apply to music. Whether you're playing a sport, performing your hobby, or even just having a conversation with someone, your intuition is constantly there, working behind the scenes. Improvisation makes this obvious. We think of it as something that only performers do, when in reality, we're all improvising every day. Take conversation, for example. You don't walk around with a script, reading off each line. You respond to people in real time, changing your tone, words, even your facial expressions, based on how the conversation is going. Think of the last conversation you had. The kind that just flowed. You weren't planning every sentence. Your intuition helped you read cues, sense the moment, and somehow know whether or not the situation called for a joke, a thoughtful pause, or just letting the other person rant about how their coffee order got messed up again. That's improvisation. And that's intuition at work. But the strange thing is, the more I tried to understand intuition by thinking about it, the more it slipped through my fingers. It's like trying to remember a dream. The harder you chase it, the faster it disappears. That's the paradox of intuition. It works best when we stop trying to control it. And for me, the real breakthrough wasn't about thinking harder. It was about learning to trust myself more. The less I tried to force it, the more naturally it showed up. Almost like it had been there all along, just waiting for me to get out of the way. Intuition does not respond to force. It responds to trust. We're taught that thinking more, analyzing more, being more logical, that's how we succeed. And yes, there's a place for that. But intuition thrives in a different space. It works best when we're present, not overthinking. It's not about effort. It's about awareness. Have you ever taken a test where you second-guessed yourself? erase the right answer and change it to the wrong one. That's intuition being drowned out by overthinking. Or maybe you were in the middle of a conversation with someone and you said something and immediately thought, why did I say that? Even though your first idea was something more insightful. That's the moment rational thought hijacks what your gut already knew. Let's think about fear. Because in the real world, when the stakes are high and the path ahead is unclear, our instinct isn't to trust. It's to hesitate. And this hesitation often shows up not as fear, but as overthinking. We hesitate not because we're gathering more insight, but because we're afraid to make the wrong choice. We put off decisions, waiting for a sign, for perfect clarity, all because we don't trust ourselves enough to act. Fear creates noise, and intuition needs quiet. The more we think, the more we lose track with that inner voice that's been guiding us all along. There's never going to be a moment where you know everything. Uncertainty isn't a problem that needs to be solved. It's a condition of life. Every decision you make involves some degree of risk, and no amount of thought will ever make that outcome certain. That's where intuition becomes not just useful, but essential. It helps us navigate uncertainty, not with perfect knowledge, but with trust. Trust in our past experiences. Trust in the patterns we've absorbed. And trust in the fact that beneath the surface, you already have the answers, even if you don't yet have the words to explain it. I mentioned before that intuition isn't something you can just summon at will. It's a skill, one that you can strengthen with practice. And the best part is, you can start with the small decisions in your day-to-day life. Just like any muscle in your body, if you want to strengthen it, you have to work it out. I tried doing this more often, whether it was choosing where I should go to eat, or whether it was choosing what to wear in the morning. Although these decisions may seem trivial, the more of these you make without second-guessing yourself, the more you start tuning in to that quiet, intuitive voice when it speaks up in the future. Then there's creativity. I believe creativity is one of the most powerful ways you can practice intuition. I mentioned before that I play piano, and when I'm improvising, I don't think. I just play. I'll sit at the piano for 20 minutes and just zone out while playing. Sure, it doesn't always sound the best at first, but the more I practice it, the better my soloing gets. I start to feel a deeper connection to the piano than I ever would have from any traditional practice. And by the end of it, it's almost like my fingers just know where they need to go. You can tap into that same kind of flow in any creative activity. It might be painting, writing, or even something as simple as doodling. Just sit down and draw the first thing that comes to mind. Let one line guide you to the next and see where the final result takes you. When we let go of the need for perfection and simply express ourselves, we're engaging with intuition in its purest form. Additionally, one of the most important things I've learned is to keep track of the times your intuition has led you to a good place. Reflect on the moments where you've let experience guide you. What worked? What didn't? The more we learn and observe from these experiences, the better you will get at recognizing these intuitive voices when they speak up in the future. So, what does this mean for you? Intuition is already guiding your decisions. from the trivial ones, from even how you communicate, and how you navigate the uncertainty. It's always there, that invisible thread, connecting your past experiences to the present moment. The key is learning to trust it. Trusting your inner compass, whether it is in trivial decisions like what to wear in the morning, or if it's in high-stakes moments, like asking someone out on a date, or having a conversation with someone you care about. Intuition works best, not when we force it or overthink, but when we allow space for it to show up naturally. Remember, intuition isn't a magic trick or an elusive talent. It's a skill, one that you can refine like any other. The more you practice it, the better it becomes. So, next time you're faced with uncertainty, try stepping back, trusting your instincts, and letting intuition take the lead. You might be surprised by the outcome.